Hi guys and welcome back to the channel L Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you've seen and if you want to see more. Coming up in today's episode, we look at the highlights of Hull KR vs Wakefield and Warrington Wolves vs Huddersfield Giants, as well as two games from the ANZAC rounds reports. So our first game that we're going to go through today is Hull KR vs Wakefield Trinity, as the two sides are facing each other with two different trajectories currently going in their season, with Hull KR going up the league and Wakefield Trinity losing quite a few games and going down the league, unfortunately. The Robins sit at 6th position with 5 wins from their 9 games, while Trinity have got 3 wins from their 9 games, but are currently on a 4-game losing streak out of their 9 games. Wakefield came into this game with 2 changes in the backs, with Max Jowett returning at fullback and Tom Johnson returning in the left wing position in place of Tom Johnston. A much changed forward line with Brad Walker, Tinora Arona, and Matty Ashurst, Jay Pitts all returning to the pack, while Liam Kay, Yusuf Aydin, Eddie Batty and Geordie Crowther all make the bench. Hull KR welcome Lachlan Coote back after missing last week's game against Toulouse, and Will Dagger drops out of the 17. Milnes and Abdul continue as the halfback pairing due to the absence of Mikey Lewis, while in the forwards Sam Woods drops out of the 17 altogether and Kane Lynette returns to the side. On the bench, there's a place for Albert Vette and Corbin Sims, who is joined by Jimmy Kindhorse and Greg Richards. The first try went to Hull KR, and as Kane Lynette got his way over, a nice break from Lachlan Coote saw Lynette on the inside to score Hull KR's first try to make it 6-0 as Coote added the extras. Coote was next on the scoreboard himself as he got on the end of a move from Hull KR. Starting just inside the Wakefield 20, Jez Litton got off the ball, and as the ball came back inside to Lachlan Coote, he found a gap to scoot over after Ryan Hall had found the way cut. Coote added the second kick and it was 12-0 to Hull KR. Just before half time, it was 3 tries for Hull KR as Jordan Abdul was bumped and bullied as after he found a gap. But a left-hand edge move saw Sean Kenny Dowd using his strength and size to power over in the left corner. This was an unsuccessful converted try, so the score stayed at 16 points to 0 until just after half time. The ball was worked right, and after an offload by Ben Crook, it was Ethan Ryan who went in on the right edge. Ryan went over for his second as another short side play on the last tackle, so Litton go to Abdul and Coote for Ryan to kick forward and bounce and dive over to just put the ball down. It was all one way until Wakefield woke up, and it was Jacob Miller who got onto the scoreline after his kick went up and was batted down by a Hull KR man. It was Miller who scooted in for the try, which Mason Lino scored the conversion for, as you see. And Wakefield were again on the scoreboard as Murphy was the try scorer. The left winger was recipient of a great move, as he's playing on the right wing today, but a fantastic pass from Mason Lino, and he dived over spectacularly for Wakefield's second try. The ball was in Hull KR's hands, and they did a short side left-sided play as the ball came loose to Lachlan Coote, who released the ball in the tackle to Ryan Hall, who scooted over to score. And the final word went to Hall as he went over once more. Oh no, it didn't. It went to Kane Lynette, who used his strength and size to bundle over the line for the final try. And the final score for Hull KR, 32 points to 10. We now continue with the ANZAC round as we have one game to cover for Saturday as we go through the report on that, and one game from Sunday as there's one game still being played on Sunday as I record this video. The game that we're talking about first is the West Tigers visit of South Sydney Rabbitohs to the stadium and how the two teams are going ahead. West Tigers are off the bottom of the table after their victory last time out against the Parramatta Eels thanks to a Jackson Hastings drop goal, while the Rabbitohs are in 8th place after their victory last time out. There were a few changes for both sides. First of all, with the West Tigers, Alex Seyfarth has been called into the starting lineup in place of second rower Kelma Tuilagi, with English centre Oliver Gildart joining the bench in the team named 60 minutes before kickoff. Jake Sim-King has failed to recover from an ankle injury suffered against the Eels, so Jacob Liddell is the new hooker. James Roberts is also out, being replaced in the centres by Luke Garner. So for the Souths, David Morley is recalled on the bench with Isaiah Tass going to reserve after debuting last week. Arme Seller has been named to start at prop with Tom Burgess on the bench. So the match kicks off, and coming off the back of their Easter Monday win over Parramatta Wests, were almost the first to score with a beautiful grubber from last week's hero Jackson Hastings, nearly pounced on by David Nufaluma. There was concern for South's Harme Sala after a head knock in the tackle. He went off for a HIA and his night was over, I'm afraid. Nufaluma, who scored 2 tries last week, made up for his early near miss with a Tigers first try down the right with a beautiful cutout ball from Dane Laurie. Hastings nailed a difficult conversion to give the Tigers a 6-0 lead. There was controversy afterwards with Tarnay Milne having taken out Laurie high in the act of try-scoring movement, and Milne was sin-binned. It was a triple ball for Souths, HIA, try and sin-bin in a short time frame. Alex Johnson came close to scoring for the Souths, but somehow the ball popped out backwards for Cody Walker to score. While Walker was offside initially, he ran around Johnson to get back onside, and no Tigers defenders were impeded. While we're used to seeing Johnson score plenty of tries, it was still an amazing piece of heads-up play from him. Blake Taff converted to tie the game up at 6-all after 14 minutes. Johnson added a try of his own 4 minutes later. Walker playing assistant this time with the wonderful cutout pass as Souths went down the left, and again to make their lead 10 points to 6. What was more incredible was South scoring 2 tries with 12 men, a scary thought for Wests. Souths looked like warming up for a big night. West quickly hit back after a Souths error, with Ken Moimalo scoring in the left corner. Hastings hit the sideline conversion to give the Wests the lead once again. They were close to scoring yet again when the Rabbitohs knocked on Laurie's grubber kick close to their try line, giving West a scrum in prime attacking position. And getting the ball back after another Bunny's error as they tried to clean up some poor Tigers passing. Another nice lorry grubber to the corner resulted in a goal line dropout. Mully Marlow nearly scored off a bomb but knocked on, giving South Sydney a reprieve. With 3 minutes left of the half, the Tigers pinched the ball 10 metres from the South's line, but South survived, nearly scoring a length of field try, and Alex Twal was binned for being offside during Rabbitohs' counter-attack. Out of nowhere, Souths had turned desperate defence into attack, but squandered their chance with a drop ball. It's fair to say that we are one of the best footy halves of 2022, with for the Wests, as they completed 25 out of 26 sets, but the Souths will be unhappy with their 11 completion rate out of their 18 sets of tackles. Rabbitohs got themselves back in front in the second half off a Campbell Graham break when Josh Mansour scored off a Damien Cook grubber, which ricocheted off Liddell. Amazingly, it was a third try tonight while a player was in the sin bin. Taft converted, and this gave Souths a 16 points to 12 lead. The Tigers earned a penalty after Johnson caught a Hastings bomb, but Walker had run an escort line. He basically blocked off the man in front of him that was coming at him from tackling the person catching or competing with the person catching. West looked to have scored off the next set with a try to Jack Madden, but Mully Marlow was offside, though it appeared like a line ball to the naked eye. In other words, he'd actually stepped offside when the ball went up, but from a different angle, it seemed like that he was onside as well. So, offside at the kick. Anyway, it was South's turn to attempt to try as Burgess went over, but Damien Cook knocked on in the act. It was South's 9th error of the game so far. West Tigers levelled up the scores off a centre field scrum, going to the right with Nufaluma scoring his second try. That's 4-2 for the West player. Hastings just missed the sideline conversion to keep the score 16 for all with 20 minutes to go. Luke Brooks put the Tigers back in front with a 70-metre run after picking up the loose ball from Lachlan Ilias' misplaced pass, which Hastings converted to give the Souths a 22 points to 16 lead. The Souths got a successful captain's challenge over a knock-on call close to the West line, with Starford Tota knocking on. Souths then got a couple of 6 again and tried to level the scores, and were eventually held up over the line in the attempt of scoring. Keon Kolomatagi then went over to cut the margin short to 2, and Taft nailed the crucial conversion to level the scorings at 20 points to 22 all, with 8 minutes left. It was incredible considering the Souths had been reduced to 15 players, with Selly and Jacob Host unavailable from the bench. There was a captain's challenge from the Tigers after a penalty, which was successful when Jay Arrow knocked on with no ruck interference, which cost the Souths a kickable penalty. Hastings tried to repeat his Easter Monday field goal heroics with a couple long-range attempts, but missed both. Even Jay Arrow tried a field goal attempt, but he was rushed in his attempt, giving away a 7-set tackle as Souths bungled the field goal setup. Madden's field goal attempt was then charged down, but the Souths were caught offside, with the West getting the ball back. Souths challenged it once again, and Cook charged down the ball and it hit Arrow, who was accidentally offside, so the challenge was unsuccessful. With a minute and a half left, West had one shot with the middle scrum, 30 metres from the South's line. On the fourth tackle after that, it was left to Luke Brooks to go for the drop goal, and he nailed it on the fourth tackle, giving the West their second straight 1-point win of the season. It was a tenacious effort from the Tigers, and deservedly so, with 45 of their 47 sets completed, while the Souths were ruining their only 25 of their 37 sets completed, along with a touch of bad luck for accidental offside. But a win is a win is a win for West Tigers, as they won 23 points to 22. Our next game sees us feature two teams that lost last week, but one, while their defeat last week is a blip on their radar, it is the home team that are not doing so well after initial good results, as we see Newcastle Knights face the Parramatta Eels. While Parramatta have won 4 of their 6 games so far this season and are sitting 4th in the table, Newcastle Knights have only won 2 of their 6 games and currently sitting 11th in the table, looking to get some form together to get into those playoff places. Here are both of their teams. Adam Clune has been named to return in the halves after he was a late withdrawal against the Dragons due to a knee injury. His return shifts Phoenix Crossland back to the bench and Simi Sasagi to the 18th man. Tex Hoy also remains in the extended squad after a 24-hour update. Himmel Hunt will play in the New South Wales Cup this weekend as he continues to work his way back from a knee injury. For the Eels, representative prop Junior Paulo makes a return after missing the Easter week Monday clash through suspension, shifting Oregon Kafusi to the bench. Marata Nui Kore, leg tightness, is out, replaced by Will Pinicini. That's a centre play, with Hayes Perham coming onto the wings. Regan Campbell-Gillard has been named despite picking up an ankle injury on Monday, while Mitch Rain reverts back to the reserves with Jacob Arthur coming onto the bench. The Newcastle Knights opened the scoring in the first half with a penalty, but it was one-way traffic thereafter. Sean Lane produced a try and try assist with a lovely offload in traffic to Hayes Perham to open the visitors' scoring to a 14 points to 2 lead at the break, with Mitchell Moses adding a penalty of his own. But the floodgates opened soon after the breaks. Dylan Brown embarrassed the Knights' goal line defence after a lovely lead Mahoney dart, and Isaiah Papali'i crashed over twice in a startlingly easy fashion. Will Pinicini touched down after Edric Lee failed to defuse a Moses kick ahead, and Moses added a late field goal to hand the Knights a convincing victory. Newcastle's good ball sets gave the Eels little to worry about, but there was little adventure, ball movement, and was slow, as well as passing far too often that went behind off too often in front of their intended recipient, and neither half seriously challenged the line for the Knights. The Eels were the polar opposite. The slick ball movement and deft offloads into the opposition's end caused plenty of headaches, while Mitch Moses was happy to challenge the line and broke through it on more than one occasion. Among the other issues, Newcastle's goal line defence was a serious worry, with the ease which Sean Lane, Dylan Brown and Isaiah Papali'i shrugged through the attempted try-line tackles will give Adam O'Brien and his side some serious causes for concern. Dylan Brown was forced out of the centres by Tom Opchic's injury. It was forced out into the centres, with the club's outside backstocks completely depleted at this point. Brown was still came up with a try though. It was 6 busts and 120 metres to make his mark on the match. The Eels won the yardage game comfortably, with they had 13 separate players and 7 forwards, making more metres than Jacob Safiti's 88, which is the most by any Knights forward on the night. Knights captain Caitlin Ponga was sent for a first half HIA by an independent bunker after he stayed down briefly after a glancing knee to the head in a collision, but was able to continue for the rest of the game. Mitchell Moses had his kicking boots on, sniping his 7 goals from 8 attempts and banging over a field goal from a very similar position to the potential match-winning one that he missed last week, exercising those ghosts. Brodie Jones suffered a hyperextended elbow in the first half, but battled through to the 60th minute. His coach expects him to miss the next game though. It was a one-way game, and unfortunately for Knights, it was a defeat. And their scoreline for that is Newcastle Knights 2, Parramatta Eels 39. So the last game of the episode sees Huddersfield Giants travel to Warrington Wolves, as both sides are coming off defeats in the last round after Warrington were given a controversial defeat 18 points to 16 against Hull, and Huddersfield Giants came off a battling display 24 points to 12 against St Helens. Huddersfield are doing well this year and are still my dark horses to get to the grand final, as they are 5 wins from their 9 games, while Warrington are 4 wins from their 9 games and still looking for their identity to the start of this season. This meant changes aplenty for both sides, while Jermaine McGilvray and Ash Golding swapped places, as Jermaine McGilvray came into the side and Ash Golding drops to the bench. Leroy Cudjoe drops out of the 17 completely in place of Jake Wardle. Ricky Luatelli replaces Innis Senior, who goes to the wing, and Louis Senior drops out. While in the halves, it's Cogger and Russell who continue. Chris Hill and Danny Levi come into the starting lineup. Chris Hill for the first time against his former side. While on the second row, we see Jack Ashworth drop to the bench for Chris McQueen, and Luke Yates comes into the starting lineup for Michael Lawrence. That means Lawrence, Ashworth are joined by Joe Greenwood and Golding on the bench. Warrington make a tactical change as well, as they see Gareth Widdop drop out to the 17 and Peter Matautia goes to halfback. This means that Conor Wrench comes in at centre. Riley Dean starts at scrum half in place of Stefan Ratchford, who also drops out of the 17. Oliver Holmes comes in for Jack Hughes at second row, and Matt Davis comes into the 17 at loose forward, while the bench is filled up by the usual characters, as in Joe Philbin, Joe Bullock and Danny Walker. Billy Magoulis, who missed last week's game, comes back into the contention on the bench. So Warrington opened the scoring after a flowing move down the left wing, found the ball in the hands of Matty Ashton, who scooted back inside but was brought down by Jake Cogger. The referee decided he wasn't having any of it and sent the young halfback to the sin bin for 10 minutes. On the resulting set though, it was a ball to the left to Foulis, who dived over for the try. after a tough tackle by Tolilula here on Ashton, but a dummy half play saw Thulis go over. Thulis got his second shortly after on the 19th minute. After again going to the left-hand edge, the ball was worked to Thulis, who got through, but a late hit by Cogger again found out that it was a penalty try that was given, and Cogger was sent to the bin once again for contact with the knee on the head, whether it was accidental or not. They missed the initial kick, but they got the second one through Riley Dean, so the score was 10-0. But then King scored his try on the 30th minute to push Warrington's lead further forward. This was going one way until just before half-time, Warrington got on the board. A flowing move found Senior on the left wing. I think it's Innis Senior who was playing. It was indeed, who got over in the left edge, but it wasn't converted. And that's a half-time. So the switch of the sides saw Warrington extend their lead on the 58th minute after Connor Wrench went over in the right corner, which a fantastic kick from Dean made it a 6-point try. The final try for Warrington came next, and it came through courtesy of Ben Curry. A standard left kick into the inside found Warrington's player. Apologise, that was Thulis' hat trick. I missed that out. A great kick back on the inside, saw Thulis gather up and run in to score. And on the 71st minute, it is Ben Curry's try. Ball was flinged to the left, and he found the gap, and he had enough pace to dive over in the corner for the final score of Warrington. But it wasn't the final scoring overall, as Huddersfield had the last say of the game, but it was just a consolation. Left edge run saw Luke Yates barge over and dive over the line, which Russell converted, with Warrington winning 32 points to 10. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide as we get the word out for rugby league all over the world. It's our sport, it's your sport, you're the rugby league family. Please also remember to click that notification bell for any updates that may be coming your way. New videos are always issued every single day, and I hope you continue to like them. So we'll bring you the highlights in this episode of Super League's 2 clashes on Saturday. A Hull KR going for it, as people say, as this may be their only chance of winning everything. And now Warrington turning the corner with their neck win and having a close defeat, controversial defeat last week. You tell me in the comments below. Newcastle Knights issued apologies after their defeat against the Parramatta Eels. They deserved to, because the defence was absolutely shocking. And West Tigers, 2 dropkick last minute wins in a row. You can't beat that, can you? Well, you can, but they've got 2 wins on the bounce now. And wins are what the game is all about. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide. But in the meantime, please stay safe. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next episode.